Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Irish column for Sunday, the 1st of December 2024. 3 days after the country voted. And listen, they voted the same people back in again. It was a weird, I'm going to be honest, it was a very weird voting patterns and all that I seen and the whole lot. But hey, listen, let's not dwell on it. Anthony's not with me tonight, so Orla will be coming in, I'd say, and Martin will be in the next few minutes. But yeah, it was just, I'll be honest, I'm stunned now. I'm just going to look at a couple of comments there. I'm devastated, lads. Recoup, come back stronger. I'll be waiting, never give up. You can already see independents are getting stronger at every election. Aaron Gabra, they will come. Yeah, I think you're right. I really do think you're right. Listen, we all doubled or trebled what we got in the locals, like, you know what I mean? So, you know, it was it turned out well for all of us, I think, as well. Listen, I think Gerard Hutch was thrown in there to stifle Malachy, and it's been proven now. We've seen it, like, you know, it was a bad move, like, you know what I mean? And people all got behind Gerard. He had media 24/7 every time you looked at him. But now that you go there, yeah, I'm looking at the video there a few minutes ago, and it's Jerry Hutch coming out or going into the RDS and then coming out. It's a whole different story there now. You know, nobody really, you know, it's a bit crazy. I'm just going to bring Orla up there now. Hello there, Orla. How are you?
Well, hon, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? Are you getting over it? Did you get over everything at the minute?
I'm grand, not to bother me. I was actually busy today checking out my posters.
Yeah, I'll do mine tomorrow now on the next day.
I'll have to get luckily enough, like, sure, we didn't have hundreds of posters to take down, so it was actually grand, you know. So at least it's kind of, I have a couple in Thomastown to take down, and there's just another couple where we just need a bigger ladder, and that's it, all done and dusted.
Yeah, but it was a weird one, wasn't it? Really, let's be honest. Like, it was crazy. Like, Derek getting 3 votes in Mallow. I find that very hard to believe now. I really do, you know. I'm just going to do
Philip Dwyer, like, that was really strange. Like in Wicklow, like how, like in what you call it, Newtown Mount Kennedy. Like, how did he only get, like, what was it, one vote, and Simon Harris got 160? That's very, very strange.
Yeah, but like, how did Simon Harris go from like going in on the 15th count in 2020 to coming in here with 16,000 votes? Come on. There's no way people voted like that. I'll just go through some of the comments. I'm not forced, sorry. Well done, Paul. You're done very well. Thanks very much. 50% turnout. Knew there was going to be some voter apathy. Yeah, well, like, let's be honest. The people who said they'd vote for us obviously didn't get off their arse and come out and vote, you know? So I'd say that's it. Recount happened at polling stations in Louth and Kerry. Serious questions need to be asked here. Ken Donnelly. Well, Ken, I have a story I'm going to tell myself in the next few minutes. And listen, people will probably resonate with this because they've probably seen the same thing themselves. But hold on there. A recount. Yeah, that was loud. And hey, Paul, I can't understand, though. Philip Dwyer, 1 vote. Come on. And it's true.
And there's an iPass centre there. Like, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. And what Simon Harris, after everything he's done recently, you know, between the way he spoke to that lady in the shop and everything, and he got 160 votes where there's an iPass centre. And then Helen McEntee is 6 kilometres from Torton Hall, another iPass centre, and she gets back in again with the hate speech and everything like that. It makes, I don't know, it's very strange. Very strange.
It makes no sense. There's someone at, hi, Orla, Chris Bourne.
Hi, Chris.
And but then, Vincent.
Hi, Vincent. But do you know what gets me as well is, how in God's creation has Roderick O'Gorman got back in again? Like, dear God of Almighty, how did he get back in again?
Well, let's be honest. I thought he was the sacrificial lamb, but obviously it was the other one, Martin. She didn't get back in at all, I don't think. I think she lost her seat. You know,
yeah, your man down here in Kilkenny, he lost his seat as well.
Yeah, there was a load of them lost seats, but
Mm.
the main ones got back in. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? The experience of the general election was good for all nationalist candidates. Well done, everyone. Yeah, no, I think so as well. To be honest with you, I done well. I
But
was
like
happy.
we
I'm
all
not
worked.
saying I was
Listen,
happy. I'm not saying
yeah,
I
but
was
look,
happy, but
we all worked really hard.
we
Do you
all
know what I
doubled
mean?
or trebled us. We all doubled or
Yeah,
trebled what we got in the local. So yeah,
yeah, yeah. But that's it. Like, I mean, I was just like saying, like I was talking to Doran today and a couple of the others, and I was just saying, like, I mean, I didn't even treble my vote. I can't even say what eight or ninth my vote. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not even known in Kilkenny.
yeah,
Nobody knows who I am. I'm not from Carlow. I've no family. I've no aunts,
yeah,
uncles, cousins. I've no childhood friends. Apart from, we say, whatever knows me in
yeah.
Carlow town from the locals, the outside of Carlow doesn't really know me apart from a few people in Loughlin Bridge, and that's about it. So, like, I mean, as I said,
Well,
I
they
went
all
out
know you
and I
now.
worked. They all know me now. But I went out and I worked my arse off. I was out in the freezing cold. I was out in the rain. I was knocking on people's doors. I wasn't just doing like leaflet drops or anything like that. I was literally knocking on doors. And this is what I mean. This is what I found kind of just very strange about the surprise Sinn Féin vote. Because everybody that I was talking to at the doors were putting the three together. They were saying, no way are we voting Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? So where
yeah.
the Sinn Féin vote came from, I find it just, I don't know, very surprising.
You do. I do as well. Who's that there? Who's gone off there? I don't know who jumped in there. Phone. Whose phone was that? Someone jumped
God,
in
my
there on it.
phone hasn't even, yeah.
Yeah, but
Um,
like as you said, like people are looking here. I'm just going to read out some of these comments because like these are something fishy here. I don't think this was an election, more of a selection or change of administration. Yeah, I give up. O'Gorman's gone. Polling paper, only 2 nationalists. The rest, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, People for Profit, a scam. Yeah, yeah. And then we have those that did not bother their arse to vote are as bad as those that voted for Phoenix. And I agree. I really do agree. Like, I canvassed down there I was doing leaflets, but like I was on my own, and there must have
mm,
been 50 people came out to
mm,
talk to me. You know what I mean? And I spoke to them people, and then people told me, "Oh, you're getting my vote. I wouldn't vote Sinn Féin." You
yeah.
know, and here's more here. Reports of 1 of 4 voters being asked for identification. That's true. Yeah, because that happened for me. I brought my mother and father down. I brought my father down to poll before I brought my mother and the whole lot. And they were asked for ID, but they weren't asked for ID until they gave their name. It was weird. You know what I mean? And she
I
looked
brought my
straight at me.
passport down. Yeah, I brought my passport down, but I wasn't asked. I had
Yeah.
it with
And
me.
then I brought my ma up, afterwards,
Mm,
my ma and my sister, because they were late getting down. I brought them. And
mm.
they weren't asked for passports. But my dad asked the
Hey,
girl, he says, well, why are you asking for passports? Is this a new thing? Oh, we asked 1 and 4. That's what she said. That's exactly what
mm,
she said, the woman.
mm. Here, Paul, I'm just laughing. Like, I don't need to show a passport.
Yeah,
If somebody says to me, like, have you got identification? What, to prove I'm Irish? Look,
yeah,
see the
yeah,
colour?
yeah,
See
yeah,
the colour of
yeah,
this? Dan's
exactly.
100% Irish.
Yeah, yeah, I know. No, sounds not right or fair, something bogey. And Susan, yeah, I'm going to tell you what happened, right? I'm going to tell you what happened to me. Okay, I was in, why was Herman given off-grid stick today? I don't know, Jerome. I didn't hear anything about it. Mate, sorry. He'll be on later on. He'll probably tell you himself. So I'll ask him. Frankie, sorry, the Irish are that stupid. I can't believe it. I don't think the Irish are that stupid, mate. I'm being honest with you. D Wall came over to me. I got into the count thing yesterday about 2:00, and D Wall said to me, she said, Paul, there's something fishy with these votes. She said, look, 1, 2, 3, and then an 11. Why would there be an 11 there on hers, And I sort of brushed it off. And then I went over and started looking at the Sinn Féin votes. Now, people might say I'm a bad loser, but it was suspect. I'm being honest with you. It was very suspect. There was 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then number 11 for me. Okay. No other numbers on the ballot. None at all. Only 1, 2, 3, 4. And I don't care what anyone says. If you're voting for Sinn Féin, you're voting Sinn Féin 1 and 2. You're not voting Sinn Féin, Labour, Soc Dems, and Fine Gael. And then Paul Fitzsimon's number 11. Something very fishy there. Something very odd. And I saw that on about 4 of his. your man from Donamead or wherever he's from. I saw that on about 4 of his. And then I was told I only got 7 votes out of St. Kevin's School in Donamead. Like, I actually met 3 couples coming out of Kevin's School who told me that they gave me their votes. And my mom, my sister, that was 8 votes I got in Kevin's School. You know, come on. Like, you know, it's... And I'll tell you, I'm gonna send Dee a text, because if she'll come on and tell you herself, like, you know what I mean, that is what happened, that she's seen this, that we see, like, this happened. And then on some of them there was a 1 and a 3, and the 3 was like lighter than the 1, you know, the sort of way. It was weird, like, it really was, like, you know. Something is not right about something, doesn't add up, it's very fishy.
What I can't figure out, right? As I said, right, I know a lot of us all went out canvassing, okay?
Yeah.
And we were knocking door to door and we were talking to people, okay?
Yeah.
And I think in all the thousands of doors that I knocked on, I think I met 2 people that said they were going to vote for Sinn Féin. Everybody else was no way, Sinn Féin, you know, Fine Gael, Fianna Fáil, no way are we voting for them. So I just find, after all the scandals of Sinn Féin, where did this vote come from? I don't know. I just find it very strange, considering everything. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, on Tuesday night, I'm going to be honest now, and a friend of mine said it to me, Paul, people lie. People tell you lies that they're voting for you, and I don't think to this extreme people would have told me lies. You know what I mean? I really don't. You know what I mean? But I do get people lie. But we had a canvas team out on Tuesday night, and we must have knocked on a couple of 100 doors. And anyone that answered the door spoke to us and told us, you're getting my vote, Sinn Féin are not getting it. There was probably 30 carers came out and spoke. You know, it was, it didn't look, listen, for Sinn Féin to get the vote they got,
a lot of people, you know, text me today and everything like that, and message me today saying, like, we gave you our vote. Do you know? And I actually got some really lovely messages. The night before the voting, a woman actually messaged me. And I'd met her at canvassing about 4 weeks ago. And obviously I don't want to give too much information, but let's just say there was something going on with our granddaughter. And I stood talking to her at the door, and she was looking for a number of a psychologist and all this. And I got that for her. And she texted me to wish me, you know, good luck and everything like that. And I was thinking, this was 4 weeks later and she hadn't forgotten about me. And I got a couple of more emails and messages like that. People saying, fair play to you. You stood talking to us at the door. You know, you made time for us. It was like the woman I met, you know, with the terminal cancer out in Hilltown. I mean, I must have stood at the door with her for 20 minutes. But to me, that was more important than, you know, the go round, you know, if I didn't get more done, no, I did, you know, afterwards. But it was more important to stand at the door talking to her, because she was upset.
Minutes. Yeah.
Well, because at the end, this is where we were going to be different. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And as I said, like, at the end of the day, you know, we all went out, we all did our best, you know, and I was really happy with my campaign. My videos and everything have gotten huge views. Like, there's one of my videos is 9.1 thousand views. I have others at 6,000. You know, 2,000, 3,000, like, you know, especially going to the businesses was an absolutely brilliant idea. Like, it's really raised my profile. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's one girl posting there now, or Colin John Gilbert, sorry. Paul, I got a polling card from my dad, and he's dead well over 10 years, but it's the first time it came. And there was also other ones where out in Dublin West, where a man went in to vote, and he said he was told he was already voted. And then we have Michelle Keane, who walked into I'll play that video in a while. I'll pull it down. But she walked into a polling station in Kerry at 9:15, and there was nobody in it, only the counting officer, and Anthony jumped in there for a minute. He must have been putting up videos or something. But only the counting officer and the other officer, whatever, was there. And when she walked in, she was pulling out a ballot paper. Like, they're not supposed to come off that until somebody comes in and gives their name and they're scratched off, and then that's done. But apparently she had 6. There was 6 of these already torn out. So where were they going to? Like, listen, had Sinn Féin somebody there ballot stuffing? I don't know. But there's no way Sinn Féin got the money or got them votes. I don't care what anyone says. There's Anthony Casey. Hello there. How are you, brother?
How are you getting on? How's things?
All right, good. How are you?
Hey, Anthony.
How you doing? I just tried my audio here. But, can you hear me a bit better?
Yeah, we can hear you,
Yeah.
grand. How's your
How's
dad?
Pat?
Okay, I'm heading over to him here now. My brother's picked me up here near the halfway house. Just parked up my car.
Yeah.
I was at home to see the kids and going back to the CCU. So sorry, everybody. Sorry again, Paul.
You're okay, mate. No
but-
problem. Just get over and look after your dad.
Yeah, so what were you talking about the voting, was it?
Yeah.
We were
it was
just saying, we're just talking about like, I mean, Anthony, you went to an awful lot of doors as well. I mean, what were you hearing at the doors? I mean, you were probably hearing the same as the rest of us. We're not voting Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Sinn Féin.
One thing I can tell you for certain, nobody was voting Sinn Féin. And Sinn Féin had a massive turnaround all across the country. Doesn't seem to make sense. We knocked on 7,000 or 8,000 doors, and not all them 7,000 or 8,000 people answered. But I don't know if I spoke to anyone who was voting Sinn Féin.
Yeah.
Did you hear that voice note that's just been circulated there now, Paul? Because you're in it. There's a woman saying that she was at the count centre and she saw your ones being turned into number 9s and all this kind of thing. Or there was a.
What?
They're all put. There's. It's only a voice note, but apparently
Yeah.
she took a photo and it's dark or something. But Jerry Hutch's had 200 number 1 spoiled votes because they weren't
stamped.
right. Yeah. Look, I know for as well, my hometown apparently I was high in the numbers. I was up in the teens, where I wouldn't have been, and this is the same place where my boxes went missing last time. Look, I'm not here to complain about it without doing anything about it. Sinn Féin have put out a word that if anyone has evidence of malpractice, to get in touch with us and we'll review the evidence and we'll get it on to some legal teams. Because and since we put that out, we've had a few emails about it, and we're reviewing things at the moment. Because look, what I wanted to say, and I did this video a few months ago, it needs to be live streamed. Every church in the country is live streamed. There's absolutely no reason. I think they did away with them election machines because it makes it harder to to fix it. So there's no way in the world. Look, we've been out for the last 4 months. Sure, there's 2,500 people here watching last weekend. We've been to thousands and thousands of doors. I went out to Castlearmon, people running from doors. I want to talk to them. You're getting my vote. I had more people messaging me about you're definitely getting my household votes than I actually got votes. I know I got something like 1,300 I was eliminated today. But across the board, Derek Bly, Elaine Mullally, there's not a hope in the world Elaine Mullally didn't get in. There's just no way. Like it's like that woman standing beside that or sitting beside that other woman, in the RTE, where she gets the house. They're rubbing our face in it, and now they're doing the same thing. We know that that we did this, and we don't care because people are going to fall for it, and we're going to stay in power, and that's the way they did it. But you know what it does? It serves a purpose for the price of admission. It'll light a fire under people. We'll regroup and we'll attack this, and we won't let it go. And we'll build it from
I
here.
do feel, Anthony, I mean, I would have had the same thing. I had people opening the door to me saying, "Oh my God, you're my number 1, Orla, because I've seen your Facebook videos." And people were recognizing me from all my videos because you even said, Anthony, the how far I came on in even just a space of a few weeks with all my Facebook stuff and going to the businesses and all the effort and work I'd put in as well. And people were recognizing that at the door. But we have no idea what went on. We have no idea. I know I got a huge amount of second preferences votes under the Fianna Fáil one here in Carlow. The amount of ones I could see where she was number 1, I was number 2. Now, I didn't get to use my passport, but I'd love to see what had happened if she had met the quota. Because there was I had a couple of people watching, and there was a huge amount of number 1 for her, number 2 for me.
Yeah, look, I wouldn't bang on about it if I wasn't doing anything about it, but we will. We'll look into it and we'll see. And look, if it is what it is, we'll leave it off. We'll build. Regardless, we're going to build. We knew this was a very likely outcome. But we got our names out. We hit thousands of people. They know who we are. If nothing else, we put hard work in where you wouldn't do it apart from that. Hours on the doors, telling people who we are, what we're about. That in itself is a worthwhile process. So
100%. Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, I can't understand. I've had this discussion a few times with Paul and all that. I cannot understand how Gavin Pepper didn't get in, and the work that Gavin Pepper has done. I mean, he is just phenomenal. You know, the same as we say, like, you know, look at Glenn. Look at the effort that Glenn put into his campaign. I mean, he was out before us as well and did absolutely frozen work going door to door. You know what I mean?
There's a message that they're coming in there. Look, from Saladin. McEntee got forced preference. It's not a red flag. If that's not a red flag for you, I don't know what is. Like, how did McEntee? Yeah, Philip Dwyer, 1 vote in Newtown Mount Kennedy.
I've seen comments from people in Newtown Mount Kennedy. He got more than 1 vote in my household alone from Newtown Mount Kennedy.
Yeah.
You know, there's clearly something wrong with Carol Nolan, who topped her poll because she usually gets in, has already called for malpractice. And there'd be no need for her to say it. You know, she's a sitting TD. I seen Jan of London was sharing a few bits as well. Look,
well, you know who'd be great, actually, Anthony, to look into this? A no better woman, Tracy O'Mahony, the barrister, Lawyers for Justice. Yeah. Because if anything untoward went on here, and it's very, very, like, I mean, the big question should be asked: how did not one single nationalist get in? Not one single nationalist. That question should be answered.
Well, I'm going to be honest, the amount of text coming in here at the side here, I'm not buying it. This was a fix. You know, it was crazy, like, you know what I mean? It's really crazy. Transfer votes are the problem. And I'll tell you what happened with me. Anyone who voted for me voted me number 1 or Michael Burke number 2 or just me number 1. And I'd say that's how the fix was in, because they were all left open. My camera's not great, is it, lads?
I know. I would say, though, you know, when you consider it, the whole number 1 thing left us wide open. 1 and the rest blank. It's only one piece of the puzzle. But, you know, we probably should have put these guys down the last. So you don't want to vote for people, and apparently a lot of people are spoiling votes, I heard, when there's just a number 1 on it. Look, that's all hearsay. You know, we need some tangible evidence. Whoever's listening to this now live or listening to this later on in the week, shinladeen@gmail.com. If you have some tangible evidence about it, let us have it.
Yeah. Because it's not, it just showed, especially in these, it's not about your number 1 vote, it's about the transfers. That's how people are getting in on the transfers. You know what I mean? And I had a huge amount of transfers. But my transfers were actually very weird as well. Like, not the ones I would have been getting, but as in what I went out on. Like, you know what I mean? Very strange how my transfers went out.
Yeah.
You know? Like, you would imagine whoever's voting for me was voting for the other nationalist. And he only got 257 of my votes. He should have got a far higher number. He should have got 500-600 of my votes. You know?
You know what needs to happen then? The 2 boys must have disappeared, did they?
I don't know, there's a background noise, but I don't know whether it's coming from you or whether it's coming. Martin's gone as well.
Yeah.
No, I'm still here. My camera is just fucking acting the bollocks.
I'll tell you what I think, and you can react to it. I think we need to select a candidate from every area and constituency. If there's 5 there previously from this time around, we let them debate it out and let the nationalist movement decide who's the best, and everyone get behind that candidate. That's only one piece of the puzzle again. So
you see, like Anthony, at the end of the day, vote splitting is a huge problem as well. Look at Dublin Bay North. Look at Cavan Monaghan. Look at other areas. Vote splitting is a huge problem.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, you know, if we did put it down, you know, that we only had 1 candidate in each area for now, for the next time around. Yeah, everyone get behind that candidate. Are you happy with this person? Poll it. There's 4 people who ran last time. Who do you think? Do you want a 5-minute piece by each? Let's select them, and let's move on to the next constituency and select there. So we need articulate people who know how to write policy, who everyone can get behind, who can cover a range of topics, who aren't corrupt, and that's the biggest thing. So, look, we'll take stock. I'm about to jump into the car with my brother and go into CCU here.
Go on then, we'll see you later.
Yeah, I might try to jump back in if I get a chance, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
Tell you that we were asking for.
Yeah, I will do. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, mate. Talk to you. Bye. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Martin. Come in there.
No, you're fine. Can you hear me okay? I had a few connection issues
Yeah,
there.
you're good. You're good.
How are you feeling today?
Listen, I'm all right.
I was going around doing my posters and that was grand. Because I said I couldn't have done one single more thing than I did. I was out campus till 3:00 the day before. I worked my, excuse my language, feckin' arse off. And I did. Because when I say I'll do something, I will do it. And I earned every single vote that I got.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, and as I said, I conducted myself well online as well. I put out as much positive things as I possibly could. I went out around the business and highlighted quite a few things. And as I said, today I went back to check on that 80-year-old lady, the one that was looking for the chairlift. I went back to check on her. So I'm doing a bit of stuff for her tomorrow, try and see, can I get something sorted for her? And I have a couple of other people to check. It was actually very funny, Martin. Remember, were you there? You were there at the time when I went over and nabbed Fintan from Fianna Fáil. That was so funny.
Was I there for that?
You were there. He's the Fianna Fáil councillor here, right? And I had messaged him about a couple of things people had said to me at the door, right? And he hadn't got back to me. So I happened to see him at the county office and he was on his own, like against the wall. And I said, right, there's my time. Straight over to him. Fintan, there's this. I'd say the poor man is going to run every time he sees me. Do you know what I mean?
You keep after him.
And it was funny because I actually went back to the couple of people who wanted the things done, and I just said, "Listen, I nabbed him at the county office," and they were laughing. They were saying, "Fair play to you." And I said, "But that's what he's there for. That's his job." Do you know what I mean? So, you know, as I said, he's probably going to turn and run when he sees me again.
I see a lot. I'm just watching the chat there. I see a lot of people saying that the system is rigged, etc., and stuff like that. Well, look, the reality is the system's been rigged for over a century. This isn't anything new. There's always a small little bit of corruption in elections, but you have to look at the trend, and the trend all across the country is nationalists, poll between 2% and 5%, and that's the reality. They're the people that we connected with. Your Fianna Fáil, your Fine Gael, your Sinn Féin voters, the majority of them, their actual core base vote are the same as a Premiership soccer team supporter. If you support Man United, you're not going to change from Man United. If you support Liverpool,
Jesus, what's up tonight? Are the
Martin
lefties
just
after?
went off. No, I'm the same. My camera is not sitting right here. My camera, seriously, like I can see my camera is not.
What's going on here? The lefties are after us. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look really weird now.
Yeah, like what the fuck, like.
I'm the same.
Yeah, but look. The thing is, what Anthony was saying, we have to just see, does people come forward or did something untoward go on? Like, we just don't know at the moment.
Yeah, I'm just going to put it out there. If Michelle Keane is, or anyone knows Michelle Keane, tell them there. Tell her to text me on that number there, 089 203 1521, and we can bring her on and let her tell us what's going on and what happened down there. So if anyone listening that knows Michelle, it's 089 203 1521. Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yeah. But you can say what you want, but I mean, you need proof if something untoward went on. I mean, you wouldn't like to think that it did, because at the end of the day, we're in a democracy and, your voting should be completely fair. I mean, you have no problem with anybody getting in if it was genuine votes. Do you know what I mean? That's at the end of the day, it's up to a person how they vote, but you wouldn't like to think that anything untoward was going on to kind of keep us out,
Yeah.
I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't unless you had definitive proof. I wouldn't get involved in those conversations because look, it's just, it is what it is. I'd look at the trend, and the trend was between 2% and 5% across the board for the majority of nationalist candidates. So look, we've the biggest problem is we have a good product, right? But we're shit at marketing. Okay, it's as simple as that. We didn't sell our product well, and that's how we need to look at it. So if we're talking about, look, and quick thing on maths. So most of the established political parties, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, and Fine Gael, right, they're all going to come in at about 20%. So number one, we've eaten into their actual percentage a little bit across the board. Okay, we've decimated the Greens, which was part of the plan. So we've done very, very well.
So we've done good there.
But if you take that 20% each that Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, and Sinn Féin have got, right, and then take into account that nearly 50% of the electorate didn't vote. None of those major parties have a mandate. Combined, their mandate is 30% of the population. It's not even half the population. The three main parties have a combined mandate of only 30%. So only two of them are going to get into bed together. So that's Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, right? 20% each of the 50% that voted. So that's only a mandate of 20%. And then they'll pull another, 10% mishmash of Independent Ireland, Independence, and possibly one of the extreme left parties in. That is not a mandate for government. You know what I mean? 30% of the population is not a mandate for government.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very, very unstable. And we just need to keep chipping away. But from a marketing point of view, we need to package our product better and sell it to the public better. You know what I mean?
Martin keeps popping off there, but I'm just going to go with a question here.
I'm telling you, Paul, the lefties are after us tonight.
Yes, something's going on here. Like we're at the dropping 300 there as well. But a friend of mine has just rolled into me there. Hi, Paul. Irish politics. She doesn't often swear. Can you please ask the question? An RTE1 Radio 1 commentator smugly remarked this evening, so there is no big bad far right after all. Another said most people's number one issue is immigration out of control, but there was no alternative to vote for. So her question would be, could the National Alliance go ahead and form a major party that can win seats around the country? We need this, and we need this is immediately to build a better brand. Okay. Now I'm going to bring Herman and Martin back in there now. So there's Martin back in. I don't know whether you've heard that question. I don't know whether you heard that question or not, Herman. I'm going to put it to you
so
again.
I just heard brand at the end there.
Yeah. Okay. This is a person at the texting in. And a Radio 1 commentator smugly remarked this evening, so that there's no big bad far right after all. And then another said, most people's number one issue is immigration out of control, but there was no alternative to vote for. So the question to us guys is, could the National Alliance go ahead and form a major party that can win seats around the country? We need this, and we need we need this to start immediately and build the brand. So what would be your...
One thing is, there's no such thing as National Alliance. On the ballot paper that people went to see, there was various parties. National Alliance aren't registered.
Yeah.
Irish Freedom Party are a registered party. Irish National Alliance don't have any detailed policy documents. The Irish Freedom Party does. And I'm not being a bitch, but some of the candidates put forward by the Irish people, when their own leader says half of them were crazy, well, okay, maybe we should listen to him. Like, I know that people I know who were in the party put themselves forward. They're not really responsible. Well, I wouldn't say they're not the best. They could have better quality candidates.
Okay, but but in saying that, if we all came together as a group, is what she's trying to say.
Why? See, over in the European Parliament, I used to say to MEPs, the most important thing is long-term credibility, not short-term notoriety. And it's important to be electable. And to be electable, you have to have quality control in your candidates and don't put forward crazy people who want to talk about or obsessed about Jews and chemtrails and silly stuff. That you have to put forward policies and people who the public can vote for. And that's not possible if you put forward crazies with no policies and who aren't registered as a political party. Now, that's just simply impossible.
Yeah, but what she's saying here in the next text is, but if we all came together under an umbrella and just picked actual candidates that we know are good people, and come as one party, you know what I mean? And we could come against the machine, as she says here, we can come.
Well, there was someone from a National Alliance let's look at the guy who was put forward. No, but like you see there, the Irish Freedom Party, we didn't run against the guy Dilhanty. or Elaine Mullally in Laois, or Stephen Kerr in Mayo, even though we could very easily have put people forward in Mayo, for example.
And we didn't run against Derek. We didn't run against Gavin Pepper. We didn't run against Malachy.
Or as Derek, Malachy, Gavin Pepper, because they're good candidates who propose policies which are very similar, if not exactly the same as our own. But like, for example, there was a guy that this National Alliance, or there's no such party as National Alliance, group, informal group called National Alliance, put forward to run against me in County Louth. Now, no harm to the guy. He was a former member of the Irish Freedom Party, but he claimed that he was in daily contact with CIA and MI5, and that the Pakistani Secret Service chased him on a motorbike the whole way across Pakistan, and that he knew he was friends with all his prime ministers and presidents, and he was in charge of the biggest civil construction projects in the world. It's just a fantasist. And he put himself forward, had no campaign, no leaflets, no anything, got 150 votes. So that is not the basis of any type of political campaign for success. Now, I put myself forward, or the Irish Freedom Party put myself forward as a candidate in County Louth. I had, I think, a very strategically successful, with the resources, 200 posters. I had a good poster campaign. I spent money on 4 local papers. I had a quarter-page ad for 2 weeks. And I spent 6,000 on social media campaign. And we had, with the members, we had canvassing around the doors, people going out, giving out leaflets, speaking to people in the doors, asking what their concerns were, telling them that the policies that we had. We had a proper political campaign. And because that, I got started off, first preferences, 4%. Now, the shocking thing that you may be... and I don't want people to break down and start crying. Please, Martin, please don't cry. That I've just been eliminated, actually, on round 14 with, I believe, 3,806 or 3,008 votes, which is 5.66% of the total poll, which, hey, ain't too bad. And given that it's a good success for the party, because it's 5 times what we got in first preferences. Our first preferences went up 5-fold from 2020. And Cathal O'Rourke, who did a very good job, he did well in radio, etc., when he ran for the party 4 years ago. And we've increased that by 5-fold for first preferences, and we've been put out in round 14. So I think, we're good quality candidates, good policies. And I do think if we get better organised, much more in advance. We can't be putting forward people even like a month before an election. We have to put them forward a year, 2 years, get them in situ, get them working in their local community long before a general election comes. I'm years before a general election. These people have to, candidates will have to be put forward years in advance of a general election, not months.
I'd argue the point that candidate selection should begin pretty much now, and it should be this year that candidate selection takes place, and then 4 years of building personality and facial awareness. Facial awareness is one of the most important things, because there's no point in putting a poster up if people don't recognize who you are from the poster straight away, from knowing you from being in the community and being online. And we need access to mainstream media. Unfortunately, we have to. There's 2 choices: we build our own media, or we find a way to get access to mainstream media. If we do not have access to mainstream media, we will never grow. It's as simple as that, because we can't reach enough households to get that.
Back to the point that the woman asked about National Alliance. Irish Freedom Party, we've got policies, detailed policies. We are a registered political party, and we have good quality candidates. We can increase with more candidates and well in advance for the next general election. Well in advance, they have these candidates out there, get involved in the local communities with issues that have concerned the local communities. And we'll have to get better organised and better financed. Like money, one of the reasons I did, because I spent my own money, as you did, Paul, as you did, Orla, And I think everybody who put themselves forward, their name and their face, not a keyboard warrior who's just going online, tweeting stuff and spending all day in spaces and stuff like that there, but spending their own money, being in front of their neighbours and their friends, spending their own money to get elected. To me, everybody, every nationalist who put themselves forward there was a hero. You know, really.
Well, I can tell you now, in relation to when you're talking about our policies, I went round a lot of the businesses, and they were very, like, there was not one single argument or if and or but about what I was saying about, you know, the VAT, the cutting the employer PRSI, the carbon tax and all that went down a treat. You know what I mean? Every business was fully agreeing with it. Even our housing policy, when I was talking, you know, at the doors and everything like that, like, we have excellent policies. And you know what? It's not about, like, people think, oh, it's all about, you know, politicians and knowing your stuff and all this. A lot of people will vote for somebody because they like the person. Do you know what I mean? The person comes across well. And that's who a lot of people will vote for. Do you know what I mean? Because they're a decent person. And that's what we had. We had decent candidates, like decent people running, likeable people running. And
the whole thing, it's important that they know you, that they like you. It's like the big advantage of the general election is you had an excuse to go around, meet people, go around and talk to people. I just, like, for example, there a week before last was going around a yellow banner, working class, old style. I don't know, those houses have been there for at least probably a century, right? Maybe 90, 80 years, right? Kind of old houses, and going around and meet a guy at the door, soldier. He's telling me about the situation. I spent a good bit talking to him at the door, but a situation as a soldier, he got in, he bought the house. The height of the market, it was negative equity, still a negative equity for the house, and how the wages are, how the pension system is for the army. And I met him, spent time talking to him, talking about what his friends were saying as well. And he was aware of the Irish Freedom Party's policies. Met him in the street like a few days afterwards. Oh yeah, on the Thursday, yeah, he could vote, I think, by post, because he was a soldier. He had voted early, and he had voted for us. And he told, I met him again, I met him in the street canvassing. And no, it's very important, as you rightly pointed out there, Orla, about people meet you, they like you, they trust you, they got to see you out there. So the transfer of all this energy is kind of online. It has to become more localized, and people have to get out in their local communities and meet people. And like even me there yesterday in the count, I went in all these evil eyes, all the Irish Freedom Party, because you get a bad press from the mainstream media. But when they meet you, and there's quite a few people in there that I knew, that you're over talking, and he's all right, he's a nice guy, he's good crack, whatever. And normalization. That's why I didn't do a big complaint about our posters have been faced by these people before. Like, our posters were repeatedly defaced by people before profit or alternative leftist thugs, right? I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't go around complaining about it or trying to play a victim on it, because what I wanted to do was normalize continued campaign of the normalization of the Irish Freedom Party brand, that while it's been demonized, or any and every nationalist is demonized by whichever means, by the mainstream media. But what we did was just had posters up like normal political parties. We had newspaper ads in the paper like normal political parties. We had social media ads like normal political parties. And we were out on the street meeting people. Actually, in a way, we are, I don't know, a bit old-fashioned. We were out in the street meeting people, knocking on the doors, because there were very few other candidates that I saw out canvassing. I was amazed.
I know that myself, because
where's everybody else?
Yeah, the amount of people that said to me, you were the only one that called to the door. All they were getting in was leaflets upon leaflets. And I know Sinn Féin they weren't doing a huge amount of canvassing. They were throwing in leaflets. I even saw it the last day I was in Bagellanstown, and nearly every single door that I went to, a Sinn Féin leaflet was there. And I was out early in the morning. So they weren't going canvassing. Leaflets were just shoved in the door, and that was it. But like, you have to be knocking on people's doors. I mean, I know there was no possible way for us to get around everywhere, but at least, because neighbours talk, neighbours will say, oh God, she did come round or he did come round because he knocked on my door. Like, do you know what I mean? And it does make a difference going round and talking to people and all that.
Huge difference.
Yeah.
We were talking about earlier about they see you, they like you, they trust you, they talk to you. You have to speak to people instead of it's just someone distant that they see like on Twitter or whatever. That it's great for people. So like even there, what Martin said, we need to pick the candidates very, very early. And the earlier we do it, the better. That this person, that you're the candidate for this constituency, get involved, let people see you, get out there now early and do it. Because I don't know, I think the whole the media thing, the presentation of Sinn Féin, especially at the end of the election campaign, of this 3 leader debates, and Sinn Féin were like the opposition to Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. I think that was one of the reasons why they went up. However, now I'll have to check the latest figures, but someone sent me that Sinn Féin were 5.5% lower than they were in the last election. Is that correct?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything about that
in the national vote. Yeah, we'll have to check the figures because obviously they're changing minute by minute, but I believe they haven't done.
But you're right,
well.
like about the media. I saw the media yesterday now. Like they were coming up to me and all that, like Casey O'Lore and a couple of others were coming up and asking for interviews. And even today, because there was no point in me going back to the county office today because I was taking out my posters. But Casey O'Lore were ringing me, wanting to do just a little interview, because I was after being eliminated and just wanted to have a quick chat with me, like. But I have a good relationship with Casey O'Lore, so but like even when we were there, like at the county office, so Martin was there as well. Like we were hanging out with the Liberty Republic guys, and we were chatting to Gary O'Neill from On 2 as well. Like, and like it was a bit of crack and a good atmosphere. Like, it was nice to kind of just, when you're all in the same boat.
Yeah, talking about N2, I hope I have a bit of good news today. So Michael O'Dowd, who's the brother of Fergus O'Dowd, is the N2 candidate, is pro-life N2 candidate in County Louth from Drogheda originally. So he actually asked for a recount of the first round vote there after he had been eliminated. And the reason for that, he was 6 votes short of what he believed was the cutoff for expenses. He says, that's $8,000 for me. But I thought, because I got more than him in the first round, and I still had more than him after he was eliminated. But seemingly the rule is, I thought it was to get your expenses back, it was you needed to have a quarter of the quota to get your expenses back. But seemingly what has befallen is that you need a quarter of the quota when you're eliminated. So I was 50 votes short on the first round vote, but I would easily have more than that. I don't know, over 1,200 or something more than that by the time I'm eliminated. So it means I hopefully get some of the money back. Happy days.
I just want to throw out there. Can someone let me into the convo just to have a question? You can't actually come on, Sarah, but you can post your question in there if you want to, and we'll say our question.
Yeah,
that's no problem.
And what did you find?
And there we have. Look, Paul, we got a great view of you. You handsome devil, you.
Yeah. But no, like as I said, look. We all did our best. We all did as much as we possibly could. Like we were up against it with time. That was a big thing. I mean, it would have been great to have had more time. But look, we didn't know a date. They held everything, against us as much as they could. So, ones were out canvassing weeks beforehand.
Yeah. So the earlier we get people out as a candidate, they get prepared. Look, everyone knows that they have elections every so often. So if you are the candidate, well, it doesn't do any harm to have your posters printed and in the back shed. And your leaflets up and ready to go. If you know you're going to be the candidate, okay. There's, but certainly with the posters, you're not going to write "War and Peace" on your poster. All that is your name and your face and your party, etc. So,
and our posters were great. Like honestly, our posters were brilliant. Like Froggy did such a fantastic job on the graphics. I mean, our leaflets, several people said to me at the doors about how well our leaflets looked, like that they were much better than, other parties, which they were. Froggy did a brilliant job.
I think he did a fantastic job.
Laura,
I was saying to him,
you're not supposed to say his name in public.
Oh, are we not?
Yeah, it's like taking the holy name in vain. Actually, I was saying to Dermot, I met his brother today, and I was saying to him, and make sure they say to Froggy, fantastic job on the posters. They are really
brilliant.
They're very effective. They're aesthetically very beautiful. Martin,
Yeah.
I actually thought your poster from the general election was the best looking poster in the whole country. I don't know, it was a kind of slightly reddish tinge in the beard and stuff and the background. I thought it was actually the best looking photograph in the whole country. And
listen, our Martin has quite a fan base.
No, but I just thought as also aesthetically as well, and in effect effective, like for a clear message, nice and clean, clear party name, whatever, and slogan. I thought it was fantastic, and the leaflets I thought were excellent as well. And I just thought he did a really good job designing up everything.
Great information, but even our litter was brilliant. Like our litter was great as well. Like it's so. Like I saw the day, like 8 litters came into my house. But ours was brilliant because it had so many different points on it. Like some of them were very, very vague. You know, I mean, the Sinn Féin one pretty much had Mary Lou all over it. But like some of them just were very vague, where ours was quite specific to points and all that. I thought they were very, very good. Very well done.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at a thing here, that Michelle Keane video that you put out the other night. TikToker at the caution of their video flagged for unverified content.
I know.
So.
But look, Martin has made a very valid point as well about moving forward. Like there needs to be a serious look at who's involved in the nationalist movement, because we cannot carry on with the carry-on that's been going on over the last few weeks with nationalists slagging each other off and everything like that. It's disgraceful behaviour, and that seriously needs to be looked at. You know, and I see Mick O'Keefe put up a post as well, and he was calling out what went on with Gavin Pepper's family and all that sort of stuff. It's disgraceful behaviour. Nationalists should be standing against each other, and if you're not in it, then off you go.
Yeah. He said that for quite a long time. I believe it's longer than 6 months that Gavin Pepper's family have been harassed.
Yeah.
We know the people who it are. Actually, he's been having that himself personally for a very long time by people who live very close, and National Party members were harassing him, and lately, for the last 6 months at least, his family as well, and really trying to intimidate him from going forward as a candidate. And they had their guy,
Yeah.
But I just
these
think
people all need to be called out. Like they're an absolute disgrace to the nationalist movement.
Yeah.
And they are. You know what I mean? Go around slating and trying to intimidate and hassle other nationalists. They should be ashamed of themselves. And that shite was going, excuse my language, was going on down here as well.
I'm just looking here.
Yeah, I put up a tweet there today. What we need is a single political party, not a bumbling collection of idiots obsessed by Jews and chemtrails, etc. And it's absolutely true. Long-term credibility and having clear policies and candidates that are out there and that people can see is the way forward.
I think we will. I actually think we'll get a lot of people maybe from the other parties coming over to us now. And I think they will. Do you know, like the decent ones? I think they will come over to us.
Yeah.
We could end up having
I'll reach out to a number of these independents as well. Because the whole idea, like independence, I'm representing you, but there's a bit of, you can't base a nationalist movement on whatever having yourself, kind of individualism and chancerism. The problem with independence is that one, they can be bought off personally with a few bob, right? What's good for them and their finances. And two, politically, if you give £500,000 to the local GA team, they're happy and they'll go quiet. There does have to be some type of overarching nationalist ideology and organization. So it's actually a nationalist movement rather than just a small local one that just on local issues all the time. There has to be a national perspective on what's going on locally.
And what do you think, Martin? You've got great views. You've great insight into things. I can see you like one of these days now, just sitting there like Mystic Meg with like a crystal ball.
My views. I just keep posing the question, what now, Irishman? And see what people come back with. You know, that's the question that needs to be asked. And everybody needs to be asked it. What now, Irishman? Because what we're doing isn't working. It's as simple as that. Growth is fine. But it's not big enough and it's not fast enough. And you could see it even with Aintu. They're pretty much stagnant as well. The growth isn't fast enough. And like, you know, I talk in terms of the nationalist movement in 15 years, but based on the current growth, we're still nowhere in 15 years. So like I said, the product is good, the idea is good, the marketing is shit. So that's where we need to we need to kind of approach this from a business point of view. You know what I mean? How do we market our idea to Joe Public, who is still quite happy with 6-1 News, and you know, I'm all right Jack class. You know what I mean? Now things may get worse, and everybody will be affected. The Greens being decimated. Why were the Greens decimated?
Because they're woke.
No, it's not because they're woke. Why were the Greens decimated? The Greens were decimated because they touched every single household. They hurt everybody.
Yes.
And that's why the Greens were decimated, because they hurt everybody equally, all across the board. It's similar to the water charges. It affected everybody. So the Greens affected everybody. You know what I mean? We lost good fucking quality coal. We lost, you know what I mean? Fuel prices gone up, etc. The list is endless. But that's why people voted them. So you have to be able to reach people on that kind of scale and on that kind of level to actually attract new voters. And as I said earlier, your core base, Sinn Féin, Fianna Fáil, and Fine Gael voters, they're the equivalent to soccer fans. Do you know what I mean? They're never going to change team. They're always going to be Man United or Liverpool or whatever.
You know what? On that, if you look at it historically, and I don't have the figures in front of me, but in the 1980s, for example, Sinn Féin were very, very well. I suppose the troubles were going on, and they had a power melting, you know. But I believe they're 1 or 2% of the poll. So they have increased steadily, and I would say steadily up until about 6 or 7%, about what, 10 years ago maybe, and then a very sharp increase in the last decade.
Harman, block your ears. You might want to hear this one, right? Sinn Féin were able to grow so fast because they've bypassed the our spending laws by funneling money from the States and the UK through Northern Ireland. So if you have limited cash resources, of course you can grow. We're never like unless we were to actually find a wealthy benefactor, you know what I mean, of clean money, and it doesn't exist, you know. Well, there's very few of them. I can think of about maybe 20.
I could become like the Workers' Party and just rob banks.
Yeah, you could do that as well. Yeah. Don't tempt me. But there's no money in the banks now anymore. So
that's right. There's no cash. There's no cash. It's all digital. We need hackers.
Yeah. So,
you know what? Knowing the mainstream media, they probably take us what we're saying here as a joke and then put it up and say, Herman Kelly advocating like bank robbery.
It's not actually a bad idea from the.
I'm telling you, the lefties are after us tonight. They're just messing around to do everything.
I'm the same. Look, mine is gone. again. It's just gone crazy. This is.
Paul, is it saying to you that basically your browser is switching off your camera? Yeah. It's the same here. So, saying that the browser is switching off my camera.
What happened to the green screens?
That's what I'm saying to you. It's after switching off. It's telling me the browser's not working properly, and this is not working properly. We've never had these problems. This is just mad.
Do you know what it is? If we got rid of the Green Party, and now they're coming for us.
Yeah.
I think they're coming for your screens, Paul.
Yeah.
They want their screens back.
What were you saying? You were saying about it. IFP is not robbing any banks, just to verify.
Yeah. Robbing banks. Or we'll have to get a member. At least we could do is get a member called Robbing Banks.
Yeah. I'm just gonna go with the monk here. Okay, coming into the RDS earlier. It's about 2 minutes long. We'll just go with this and come back to it.
They've been great.
What would you like to say to the people who voted for you?
I'd just say thank you to them.
I'm sure.
Why do you think that they'd vote for you?
Because they want change.
Change. Jerry, it doesn't look like you're going to make it at this point in time. Jerry, what's your reaction to your defeat?
You're like a dying wasp, you are.
Well, tell us, what's your reaction to the Special Criminal Court judgment, Jerry? Jerry, what's your reaction to the Special Criminal Court judgment? Jerry. Jerry, what's your reaction to the Special Criminal Court judgment? Jerry, the Special Criminal Court found you were in control of the weapons. What's your reaction to it? When you put yourself forward for candidacy.
Singing big, away from me, Paul Reynolds. Get paid off the state.
No, I'm just asking.
Get paid off the state and
Special Criminal Court
RTE.
found you were in control
You
of the
get
weapons.
paid off the state and
The
RTE.
Special Criminal Court found
That's
you in
what you
control of the
do,
weapons.
Paul.
No, I
You
don't.
get paid off the state. The
Special-
state is
I didn't
paying
say-
you to say this, Paul.
Special
Now we
Criminal
go
Court-
in here to see what the results are.
Sorry, excuse me.
Lads. How are you feeling? Lads,
There's never a guard around when you need one.
If you don't make it this time, you can go again. What do you think? There's other people in the constituency, like Marie Sherlock and all, that said it's appalling that so many people voted for you. What would you say about that?
Get off me! Lads, be careful.
Guys, not pushing! No pushing! No pushing! Please, not pushing! No pushing! No pushing!
So is that what you have to do to get media attention?
Listen, it's
Journalists are animals. I'm sorry, but
animals, yeah.
Animals. Just absolute animals.
Yeah.
How would you have handled that, Herman?
Do you know what? I thought the whole thing was discussed. I think Jerry Hutch was put up by the media. No, I'm not saying not put up by the media, but his candidacy was glorified by the media. It was obviously very damaging to Malachy Steenson, who believe was well, I suspect and hope was on the way to becoming a TD. Jerry Hutch came in very late on the day. I know there's legal stuff going on between Ireland and Spain and about extradition and stuff like that there. Maybe it just suited Jerry Hutch to put himself forward to get immunity maybe from extradition. I don't know. But to be straight up, I'm disgusted that I know people are angry. I know people want to give the establishment a kick in the teeth. But I'm disgusted that ordinary people would vote for a guy who spent basically most of his or all of his adult life as a criminal who has been going on, who in his youth at least was robbing houses, robbing shops, was basically a criminal. Potentially, I'm not sure, don't believe he's ever been convicted of drug dealing, etc. But why would people even dream of voting for a lifelong criminal? I'm absolutely disgusted, actually. And like I was making the quip, we have enough crooks in the dollar already without voting in more. But seriously, voting for a crook and a criminal, I just find people have to, if they're angry, and it's understandable that they're angry, but putting up people who are crooks and criminals isn't the way to go. I'm actually disgusted by it.
He's not going to have proper policies or anything like that either. Like he's not, you know what I mean?
People they're voting for him. What does he stand for? Nothing. We don't know. No one's aware of any policies that he has. I'm not aware of any. Now the guy is free to put himself forward. That much is sure. But I just feel people would vote for a known criminal is. I don't know. I'm absolutely disgusted by it.
But see, I think a lot of it was to do that he was up against Mary Lou, though, wasn't it?
I don't know. Mary Lou's part of the establishment now. Like she's an RT with a big boy. She's always up in RT. Didn't see Malachy Steenson or Herman Kelly getting invited onto RT very much.
No.
Yeah, and that was the weird part of this whole campaign. There wasn't one debate with any anti-immigrant, any immigration party. It was just all the yes men that were allowed to go up there and talk.
Yeah.
Like and they were apologizing to each other before they even spoke. I'm sorry, but I have to say this. Listen, there was no debate, there was no arguments. Like I remember 25 years ago, Today Tonight used to come on. I was only talking to Jerry Waters about it. And you used to have a debate. They do their part, you do your part, and then we'd sort of meet in the middle, and that's the way it works. But not anymore. It doesn't happen like that.
Like I was a candidate here in County Louth. I wasn't invited onto RT. I wasn't invited onto LMFM. I'm not aware that there was any candidate debates, candidate like hustings. Is hustings still a thing? I thought there would be hustings. There would be public debates among the candidates. I'm not aware. It's not that I was not invited to any. I'm not aware that there was any at all. That to me is unbelievable. I'm not aware of any. So, like, there was no proper public debate on policies of what the various candidates were putting forward. Now, that's not just a problem for the Irish Freedom Party. That's a problem for the whole country and the problem for democracy in Ireland, actually. Like, with the media is a huge problem. The media monopoly, the woke agenda is so pervasive. The anti-nationalist agenda is so pervasive among the media.
It was very strange that some counties would allow people on, but then other counties wouldn't, for the, with the media. Like, that was very strange. Like you said yourself, in Louth, you weren't allowed on.
It depended on the local media. Donegal, Kilkenny, Mayo. They actually had quite extensive debates with candidates. And then, for example, here in Louth, they've none at all. I know all candidates never even heard a whisper from any local radio. So, it's the luck of the draw, I suppose. Huh?
But it was strange the way the things you were invited and things you weren't. I mean, there was an Irish Farmers Association meeting down here in Loughlin Bridge. I never got an invitation to it. Now, I don't know whether maybe some people were invited and some people weren't, but I didn't get an email over it anyway. I didn't even know it was on.
You're not a farmer, are you?
My father and brother's a farmer. Hold on a minute now. I'm from Cavan. Like, hello. I know a lot more about cattle than you do, Paul.
Paul, don't be poking the country people.
I know how to eat. I know how to eat cattle. That's about the only thing I know.
Listen, you. I don't know what I want to call you. Listen, you dub.
Paul can eat this. Paul can eat the spuds, but he can't grow the spuds.
That's exactly it. You know what I mean? Don't you slate the country folk.
My spuds come to the supermarket. You know what I mean? That's the way it works up here for me.
Actually, you know what? Speaking of supermarkets, have you heard the story about the new additive they're putting into the milk that all the supermarkets have agreed to sell?
Is this the Bill Gates one?
The Bill Gates one, yeah.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
So they're putting they're putting an additive into giving an additive to cattle to basically stop them farting to reduce CO2 emissions, and that milk is supposed to be tainted. Now, look, I mean, you can read up on it yourself, and I personally don't think Bill Gates is a very trustworthy human being. I think he's a very nefarious individual. But I personally will not be purchasing any of that milk. So just people keep an eye out for that in your shelves when you're buying your milk.
Well, I drink oat milk and soya milk.
That's even worse. But I'm not going to tell you about that.
Thanks, Martin.
I love full fat milk. I think Ireland, actually, internationally, Ireland has a reputation for having some of the best quality milk in the whole world.
I know it's like that's why
huge, because we take for granted that cattle are out in the fields eating grass. It seemingly around the rest of the world now is quite unusual. We have fantastic quality milk, fantastic quality beef. There's a huge premium on Irish beef. You go into top class restaurants in Paris or in Vienna, wherever, it's Irish Entrecôte Irlandais. It's I don't know the German for that. It's Irish beef, and the milk. There's huge premium on Irish milk in China, for example. So we have fantastic quality products, and you know what? We should be happy to promote them and sell them around the world. And that's where
We see, we also have animal standards. You go to other countries like Brazil and Argentina and Egypt and different places like that. They don't have any animal standards, and nobody has any idea of what's injected into those cattle or anything like that. You know what I mean? Or at least ours,
It's one of the reasons why we oppose the Mercosur, EU Mercosur treaty, because we don't know the chemicals that are pumped into these animals, nor the ecological destruction of these rainforests being cut down to run these herds in Latin America. So, like, in so many ways, and the idea anyway of importing beef from Latin America, like growing cows, cutting down rainforests, putting cows on them, pumping them with hormones and different chemicals, and then flying them the whole way across the world. It's so ridiculous. When we could have the alternative is just let's have Irish beef and milk here.
Yeah. And we have fantastic cattle here, like, do you know what I mean? Absolutely. Like, and most of the year they spend out, you know, in the fields. Do you know, they only come in when the weather gets really bad.
Paul Fitzsimons tells me some of the best looking cattle in the world as well.
I know all the good cattle, I do.
Yeah. I'll send you pictures, Paul, of what different cattle are, whether they're Frisians or Semitals or Belgian Blues.
Listen, if it's freezing, I'm taking it out of the fridge and I'm eating it. That's about the only thing I'm eating.
Very good.
They're the black and white ones.
Yeah.
You know.
Foley's at the game.
Hey, tell you what, the Paul Belgian Blue sounds like a cheese.
Yeah. It sounds like a good movie.
The Belgian Blue are your ones that look kind of blue and white. That's your Belgian Blue. And then your Charlies are the white ones. And then your Semitals are the red ones.
I thought a Belgian Blue was a movie.
And who says I don't know my cattle?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
That's
Norma Foley's at the getting in.
That's because I had to go down and do, fodderin for years with my father.
Lovely.
And my brother.
I tell you now, Norma Foley has just got back in. And message just
there was actually, I'll tell you what, there was a fantastic campaign down in Kerry, and the leaflets were given to all of the candidates to put out with their own leaflets. It was 10 reasons not to vote for Norma Foley. So actually Brandon had a great strategy while he was canvassing. It was basically he'd hand them 10 reasons vote to not Norma Foley, and then he'd hand them the second brochure and a few reasons to vote for me. It was very, very effective. But I'm really surprised she got back in, because there was protests outside her constituency office in Tralee, and there was a lot of the people I spoke to down there, they were very, very, very negative towards her. Funnily enough, a lot of people in the 50+ bracket were very, very aware of what was going on in the schools. So it's strange that she got. Do you know what count she got in on? Do you know what count she got back in on?
No, I didn't. Someone will post it there now in a minute. I'd say throw it in there. What count was that she got back in on? And someone send it in there if you can.
Yeah, how did she get back in?
Very, very
how did Roderick get back in? 227 children dead in the last 10 years. Over 300 missing. Files deleted. No answers. And he hanging out with a paedophile sympathiser, Peter Tatchell, and he gets voted back in. Who in God's creation in their right mind would vote for that man? I'm sorry now.
It's true.
That makes no sense.
Especially out here. You know, the Castle Knock vote, that's what he got.
This
is what's happening.
Yeah, a third of the population, you have to remember, is on the payroll. They're either a civil servant or an NGO. That's a third. It's a huge mass of people. They're part of the system. So
actually, that's very important, Martin. I actually never really put that together again. Actually, I know there's a huge percentage of the Irish population, public servants and civil servants, example. But when you put it together with the NGO, which is, I know it's a third of a million people, that's a colossal amount of then as a percentage of workers in the country. So yeah, I must look at that. Maybe you're right on that. It's actually
but then hold on. Like, I don't care if I was paid 100 million. I don't give a rat's arse. Excuse my language, but this really annoys me. No way would I vote for Roderick O'Gorman when he is putting children's lives in danger, and no money would get me to vote for him. So what sort of people is voting for him, or did they vote for him?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know about what Roderick O'Gorman is about. If you're not on social media and you only get your news.
Well, I can just tell people, go on to Orla Donahoe's Facebook page and I have it all there.
Very good.
And I even had given out about it. I even had it up there now. So go on to my Facebook page and you'll see it all there. I had planned to take a little break from social media. It didn't last very long between that. And Paul, would you actually like to put up the other good news I sent on to you earlier on about our prisons?
What did you send?
I think maybe people would like to see what's been released.
Oh yeah, I seen it. They're releasing bleeding all sorts out of the prisons now to make room
for sex offenders has been released now.
Yeah.
Isn't that wonderful? That's exactly what women and young girls need in their community. Sex offenders being released, thanks to our wonderful government.
Exactly.
Who got voted back in again.
I'm going to play Git's video here, right? Okay, this is Git hits on the nail on the head again. So I'm going to play that and we'll come back.
Ireland continues to have one of the strongest democracies in Europe. The Irish Examiner, we must address threats to democracy. I have a question. What democracy? We have a mainstream media in Ireland that work on behalf of the establishment. Not only do politicians get to hide behind the legacy media and their softball questions, but the people and the opinions that are heard throughout mainstream media are hand-selected. There's no real anti-establishment voices allowed to be heard. You won't hear anything off script or against the establishment narrative. If you really lived in a true democracy, that wouldn't be the case. The same mainstream media then run thousands and thousands of hit pieces a year on anyone that is truly anti-establishment, where anything anti-establishment is painted as an ist or an ism, or the big bad far away far right are coming to get you. Those who take part in these so-called election debates are hand-selected, not an off-script allowed. They portray this illusion that they're different, but they're all the same. If it was really a democracy, all candidates would be given an equal opportunity, all opinions would be heard, and real debates would be had. Then we come to the NGO system, or GO system as it should be called. Thousands upon thousands of NGOs work hand in hand with the establishment. Their job is to attack, bully, harass, do whatever they can to counter any anti-establishment voices or narrative and try and control it to that of the establishment. And it doesn't stop there. Your local town Facebook group or Tidy Towns group is controlled by the foot soldiers of all the establishment and fake opposition parties. So let's stop pretending that we live in a democracy. And to those of you saying that the election was rigged at the boxes, there's no need to rig it at the boxes. As I've just shown, it's rigged from the get-go. I'm sure there's many solutions to this. One I believe that would be very effective is the public meeting, a real public meeting. Have them in your town squares where they can't try and cancel or censor you. Invite the local politicians. Whether they turn up or not is irrelevant. Bring back common sense and old school debate. Inform your local area of what's really going on. That's one way that we can penetrate the system and its censorship. But as you're aware, there's lots of ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, he's right, isn't he? Yeah. The kids are being captured in school and everything, like, you know what I mean? It's crazy, isn't it, the way they do this?
Yeah.
Take them out of school.
Go on,
Sorry,
Martin,
what are you saying?
Take them out of school.
Yeah.
Our education system is like I said, kids need to get.
Martin keeps getting dropped there for some reason.
My kids were homeschooled until they were about Sally, the eldest, I think, was about 14, 15, maybe 14 at least. She did fantastic. It became too much because there's so many kids being homeschooled at the one time. It just became too much, and it insisted they go into public school. But it was a great foundation. All this stuff about it's antis need to be in public school for socialization is completely untrue. No, they got a fantastic education because the education is tailored to the needs of the individual child who gets personal attention, which they would never get in a school. And they're also not taught a lot of like bunkum by an ideology and in basically this woke ideology ran down the throat by an enforcer for the government. So yeah, homeschooling. It also emphasizes the importance of there are children. Our children are not chattels of the state. They do not belong to the state. There are children and our responsibility, and as parents, it's our responsibility to educate our children and decide what they are taught. What's going through the education system now, they've made it extremely clear that it's just a woke ideology. That's all.
Sorry, I wasn't laughing at that. I was laughing at a comment that came in about Martin and the Git's beard. Paul, go back to that.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, yeah.
That was very funny. What was what he said? It just came up quickly.
Oh, something about the beard. Hang on.
But children should be taught as well to think for themselves and not to believe everything they're told. And that's very important as well.
Yeah, but they shouldn't be getting told half the bleeding stuff. I can't find that.
Did Martin steal you?
Did Martin steal the other side of the Git's beard? There it was, yeah.
Oh, that's it. You see, as I said, our Martin's very, very popular. We're going to have a calendar for him next year, and it'll be all Martin every month. Glenn is it all planned out. Isn't that right, Martin? Your calendar.
I'm just in the studio and come back in because I'm having connection issues here the whole time. Keep it kicked out. So I'm going to leave and come back in a second.
All right, no problem. Go on. Sure. We have a few more bits to talk
about. There wasn't someone to post that?
No. I'm going to go. I have another video here, okay, of a homeless guy who wasn't allowed to vote because he hasn't got no fixed abode. Now, if that's at the happening all around the country, how many homeless people? That's 14,000 homeless people that couldn't vote.
And they're Irish.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm going to play this and we come back.
I can't vote because I haven't got stable accommodation. I've nowhere for the letter to go to because a hostel isn't classed as a stable accommodation. And if I could vote, I would vote. My name's Dean. I've been homeless since 2009, on and off. I wouldn't vote for any of the parties that are in at the moment. I class them as magicians. They're showing you something shiny in this hand where they're pushing through everything with this hand, pushing all the stuff they don't want you to see going through with this hand. I call it distraction politics. Like, the demand for housing is unreal. Like, I went out to view a house recently and there was a queue out the door of about 38 people viewing one apartment, like, and when you get to the top of the queue, it's gone. Unless you want to give me a better price for the property, that should be illegal in itself, you know. And it's disgraceful, you know. At the moment, Ireland is full to the brim, busting. There's homeless people sleeping, or there's migrants sleeping on the street in tents, which I think they should have started down first. Was to get rid of all the Irish people into houses and homes first, and then start worrying about taking people in and then housing them where they can. I just want a home to take my family to. That's all I want, you know. My daughter's my granddaughter. That's all I want to do, you know. Like, I don't want to be going into a hostel where people are taking drugs. I'm still trying to stay drug free to get my family back and trying to get my son back out of care and that, you know. And like, I don't want to go back down the road I went down because it leads me down a dark path that I probably will never come back from, you know.
Jesus, he's a very well-spoken man.
Very well educated, very
intelligent. Herman,
and very articulate.
We should highlight him tomorrow because that is an utter disgrace that foreigners are coming into this country and able to vote and our own Irish cannot vote. That's an utter disgrace.
Yeah, well, how many did that happen to? You know what I mean? That's probably happening all around the country. People that were homeless.
I think we should, Herman, can we highlight that tomorrow?
So, the guy was very articulate.
He's a very well-spoken man, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very articulate.
But it just goes to show that the curse of drink and drugs and gambling and all the vices of men, they can affect anybody. You know what I mean? You can be the most highly educated, you know, you come from an African background, but you know, drink and drugs will destroy any life. Again, it's something we need to be highlighting. There are zero services where I live anyway. There's zero services for addiction. In
Carlo.
There is nothing there. Yeah, so it's just
very poor services in Carlo.
Like, you're 100% right on the impact of addiction on personal life and also social life as well. And it's drink, it's drugs, whatever. And I've always tried to, as I get older, actually, I can see the whole thing about freedom, personal freedom. It's also to be free of addiction. And if you're addicted to drink or to drugs or whatever, you're no longer free. That this is your master. This substance is your master. And it's important that the whole, also the physical culture of young men and young women doing sport, getting strong, having self-respect, getting involved in social life with other people in teams. It's very important, the physical culture. Like, actually, when you think about it, it's one of the things about a New Ireland, about GA, getting men who are fit and strong, like hurling warrior class, ready to fight. JFK in America, even in the 60s, saw during the Cold War about getting young men and women exercising during the day at school to get fit and healthy. Very, very important, and keep away from the demon drink and the drugs and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
porn.
actually
And
met.
there's new vices as well, like the porn. These guys addicted to online life. It's not just drinking drugs. There's many other. Like I must say that humans are very inventive when it comes to finding things that they can become addicted to.
I actually met a lovely lady, Margaret. One of the last couple of days was at canvassing, and which I actually never heard of. There is a crowd down here in Carlow, and they're called "You Are Not Alone," and they're a support group for families of addiction and people who maybe have lost a family member through addiction. And I was speaking to her, and she was just saying to me about how much little support they were getting and all that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to call round by her tomorrow and just see if there's anything else I can help out with, because just to even highlight it again. And they do take in volunteers, so I'm going to call around and just see, get a bit more information on it. And I did highlight it in a post, but I'm going to do it again because I think it's a good, it's a good cause, especially as you said yourself, Herman, with all the people that are addicted to drink and drugs,
Yeah. Actually, it's one of the reasons I give up. It wasn't just to do with the possibility of, and everybody's got potential, and the most educated, capable, successful people in the world can become addicted to various things. But for me, it was problems with one of my children. I just thought, the least thing you could do as a father is be a good example. So I just overnight I stopped drinking drugs, not drugs, never take drugs, smoking and drinking. Just like that.
That's on the internet for
that was a snip. People will snip that little part out. Bingo.
No. Welcome to my world now, Herman. Welcome to my
Herman
world.
Kelly admits life of drug addiction.
All I need now is a penknife.
I tell you,
that'll be the 5-second clip, like the Michael Leahy 5-second clip. That'll follow me around for the rest of my life. But just to be a good example, like stop smoking and drinking, did it overnight, and you know what? It's absolutely fantastic. Like I'm much healthier, much healthier.
I love the way you're saying that. Here's Paul smoking a fag.
No, but I can certainly say with myself because my daughter was always at me to give up the smoking. And just the impact, the health is much better. Like, when your lungs can actually open up fully, it's a bit benefit. I find it very good for my complexion. Paul, how do you find it?
I'm grand. Look at this.
Paul's actually like 110 years old.
I'm 77. I'm 56. Would you believe I'm 56 in 3 weeks?
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
You have the body of a 25-year-old.
I actually have a very important question we need to ask. Now that elections are over, and I think this is vitally important, when are we having the party in Froggies?
Oh, I tell you.
Yeah.
Herman's the party man.
The Burger King, Herman Kelly, Froggy, Burger King.
We deserve a party after all of this.
I suspect he's watching now. I suspect he's watching, so let's be careful.
Yeah. Hey, Froggy, we're coming to your house.
I'll bring the drink, Herman. You can bring the drugs, right?
There's 2 clips now, Herman, that'll be used on media now over the next few weeks.
I'm gonna be honest.
Herman is
bank robbers and Irish freedom party, bank robbers and drug addicts.
Yeah. That's exactly it now. Yeah. The election's over. It's all coming out now. But listen. They did everything in their power to stop us. They really did.
Look at the crap that was told about you, Paul. Like, I mean, on the Independent and the Journal. Like, look at that nonsense that they had up about you.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, I can't wait to that video of yours that's shown in public, and all the accusations are actually people can judge for themselves what happened, and the accusations that are thrown around in the national press were such absolute bunkum and this tiny wee knife, and what happened in that case. I can't wait till you put that video in public. I absolutely can't wait.
Yeah,
and it shows the dishonesty of all these people. They just look. If you're a member of a political party who they're afraid of, they will say anything and everything, lies with no connection to reality at all. We just lie about
Well,
it.
look at the Independent there. They did an article on us, the ones on Carlo Kilkenny. And you're down, like, they were going through Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, the whole lot. And then, like, again, they came to me and I'm the far right.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you just had to laugh, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
straight
all you
away
can do. Like, anyone that knows me knows me. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't just become this person overnight. You know what I mean? Like, I have mates that have known me all my life, know what I'm like. You know what I mean? And they knew I'd stand up against this shit. Like, you know what I mean? And they have tipped their hat to me and said, fair play to you for doing it. And I'm glad I done it. But what I will say is, since 2022, since I joined this party, my life has turned, like, people have turned on me because of the Irish Freedom Party, because I was standing up, you know what I mean? And I don't care. I'm still here. I live to fight another day, and this is what we'll do. We will fight on. I don't care.
No, it's like you think the men and women of 1916, we don't have to do something as radical as that. But hey, you're going to get demonized. They were spat at by the people of Dublin as they're being carted off. So, like, you're a hero when you become successful, just like the warrior. Everyone hates and despises the warrior until they're needed. And, well, certainly our political advocacy is certainly needed at the minute. Nothing which is radical starts off popular. It doesn't start off popular. You have to make it popular. We have to make it mainstream. Like, even about the policies about restricting immigration, actually, we are moving into the mainstream because 75% of the population agree with us on the policies, and the political class are slowly moving over to that. We can see what's happened in Westmeath. I'm not sure if you're aware. There's a number of, I think it's councillors, and they're from Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, Independent. They're having a collection, a GoFundMe, to fund a legal challenge to the government who are trying to pose an iPass centre in Athlone. Now, what they're doing, what they're collecting for, and what they're doing is to prevent the imposition of unvetted males in their environment. Like, what they're doing now, and that's all the mainstream political parties, Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, etc. That's what we were advocating 6 months ago. 6 months ago, those people were calling us far right. Now they're doing exactly what they agree with us exactly. So we are actually mainstreaming, and the election was a good step in that.
Yeah. And there was a lot of people asked me at the door that said, "Are you far right?" And I said, "No, we're centre right." And they said, "That's fine. We're happy with that."
Yeah.
You know, I think the more problem is the extreme element of the nationalist movement. That's what people have a problem with. But they're quite happy with us being centre right and having a bit of common sense, and especially in relation to controlled migration, and illegal, illegal immigrants coming in and economic migrants. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is all common sense. You know what I mean? And they were quite happy. Well, like, I have to say, there was very few that weren't happy with our policies or this, that, and the other. Like, we had fantastic policies. I definitely reckon a lot of people are going to start coming over towards us after these elections.
Yeah. No, you're right about we have to be extremely wary of anything that smells of extremism, and there are, like, we got to be honest and say, among Irish, those who call themselves Irish nationalists, there are some headbangers and nutcases. Like, we all know about Justin Barrett going around quoting Mein Kampf and wearing his SS general uniform and talking about racial purity and all this kind of stuff. Like, that is just political poison. That people do not want that, and I'm certainly never ever going to advocate anything like that. So, all they're looking for is sensible policies to make the country a better place, and we have to deal with the hard issues, be that immigration or housing or healthcare, cost of living, all these things. Yeah. And sometimes we have to be radical, but we always have to be just sensible and not be crazy. You know. So we have to take this seriously.
There's an argument to be had though that
I tell you, what? They don't like Martin tonight for some reason.
I know, I'm the same.
Take that button off, Herman.
Yeah. No, it's not.
What I'm saying to you is that there's an argument to be had that there are a lot of crazy people and headbangers in the nationalist movement.
Nationalist
And
movement, yeah.
I don't want to be associated with them either, but they have to have somewhere to go. I'm delighted that there's somewhere for them to go. And I'm also delighted to be able to say when somebody says, "Oh, you're the far right," I go, no, we're not. They're over there. It's really, really good to have something to point at to say that, no, this is what the far right is. This is what crazy is. This is what extreme ideology is. And you know what I mean? You've no right to say anything about them because there's actual communists sitting in the Dáil. So there's a crazy on the left and there's crazy on the right. We're neither. Okay, we're nicely centre right. These are our policies, and that's it. So, like I said, I like having something to point at to say that that's not us. If you want crazy, if you want that, if you want extreme far right, if you want ethno nationalism and all that, they're over there. Go join them.
Yeah,
you can't have that. And like I said, we should always point out the fact that nobody can say anything about anybody from centre all the way to the far right, while there is actual communists sitting in Dáil Éireann. Okay? And there are actual communists sitting in Dáil Éireann. So
there'll be more. There'll be more now in the next few weeks.
Yeah, but like, I'm sorry. I'm as concerned. I'm actually way more concerned about communism and communists in the Dáil than I am about fringe far right politics, because the fringe far right politics will never ever it's not in our nature. It's never going to grow in Ireland, and I'm fairly confident of that. Now everybody's the right to believe what they want, so that's absolutely fine. But it's not going to grow because it's not in our nature for the majority. But the ideals and how communism and cultural Marxism works, it's a poison. It's a poisonous ideology that creeps in. It's like the woke mind virus. That's all part of communist ideology and Marxist ideology. And if you read Marx and talk about they wanted to seize the means of production, right? The means of production now is the fucking human soul, and that's what they're after. That's what they want. That's what these Marxist communist pedophiles sitting in our Dáil, that's what they want. So like I said, I'm much more concerned about those people who are actually in a position of power than I am about fringe elements that in reality, in my opinion, are never going to get into power because there isn't an appetite for that. That's not to say that the appetite will change over time.
I met a guy at the county. He's an old guy. I won't say his name, but he's an old guy, and he's been through. Like, he knows a lot of people. He's basically brought up in the Labour movement, was in the Workers' Party, and all Cal Golding, all these guys, Eamon Gilmore. He knew all the kind of Labour Party, with the Sinn Féin, the Workers' Party, and the progressive left. What did they call themselves? Pat Rabbit and all that. And then they did a reverse takeover of the Workers' Party. There was a book, The Lost Revolution, by two guys, Scott and was it Henson or something like that there. But basically talked about the influence of a very small group, Sinn Féin, the Workers' Party, were basically Marxists, who changed from being nationalist to anti-nationalist, and they got into the media. They formed the culture of the media in Ireland, and it's the media who formed the culture of the political class in Ireland. And it's very far left, as you said. Cultural Marxism has permeated our country. It's probably permeated the West in general, actually, for decades. And now, along with the impact on the education system and the media, political, we are in an environment which is extremely left-wing. Maybe we don't realize it because we're in the midst of it. But I saw a political survey there done, I think it was about a year and a half ago, where I saw it, where it looked at the views, the general views. They basically surveyed the views in the 1960s, and then they did it recently. And basically, it used to be a very large overlap, say in the 60s in America, but a large overlap between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. That overlap is now much smaller, and the reason it's smaller is because the views of the Democrat Party have gone way to the left. Now, the Republican Party has gone slightly to the right, but those of the Democrat Party have gone way to the left. So I presume that pertains to Western Europe as well, about the views, leftist views, which were like the ideas of, like, the effective tax rate for most people now is 52%. Like, people get up and work for the government. The majority of the money goes to the government. The idea that as Martin mentioned there about schooling and the state would dictate what your children are taught. Like these are all quite new ideas that a century ago were on, and 50 years ago were unthinkable. But we have to be very wary of the influence of leftism, and that's why our country is suffering, and to a large extent.
But we'll say you could say it's from the end of the First World War, in every nation that swung exclusively to the left, there was always a hard bounce back to the right. You know what I mean? And that then rises to real, not the silly nonsense fascism word that the left throw around, but real fascism, and real, we'll say, Nazism, national socialism. You know what I mean? So there is, what's happening now is part of a natural process, as in we've gone so far left that people are beginning to realize that, Jesus, you know, it doesn't matter how far left or right you go, you end up in tyranny and totalitarianism and death and misery and starvation. So the natural bounce back is occurring now, you know what I mean? So, and you know, IFP needs to take a bit of credit for
every time he comes on to say something.
See, it was me who pressed the button this time. Maybe she's going to say something now.
Give it over with that button,
Herman. Say it.
No, see, it was me this time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that we deserve a bit of credit, because you have to remember, as soon as the election cycle started, especially Fine Gael, they picked up all our talking points, every single one of them. They started talking about immigration. They started talking about, you know, everything that we had been talking about, housing, homelessness, everything like that. So they took essentially our manifesto and ran with that for the election. Now, a slightly dumbed down version of it. But, you know, we definitely, they were worried about us. They definitely changed their tune a little bit going into the general election. Now, it's all bullshit lies. They're going to go straight back to what they were doing now that they're voted in. As soon as they cobble together a government, they're going to go back to exactly the same thing. But like I said, we're definitely moving the needle, albeit very, very slowly. And we're definitely chipping away. And Herman, before you came on, I was just going through the percentage. Like the top three parties, they're probably going to all finish in around the 20% mark, and that's 20% of each of them. But that's only 20% of just over 50% of the electorate. So in essence, the top three parties are only going to be representing 30% of the electorate. I mean, that is not a mandate for government. And sorry, two of them aren't going to, or one, you know, two of them won't work with the other. So technically, it's only going to be 20% of the electorate represented, with a mishmash of independent Ireland and independence. That's not a mandate for government. So I reckon that they should be challenged on that basis. For every single decision they make, we should be coming out and challenging them on, this is not the mandate. You do not have a mandate from the majority to actually impose these. And you know, if we could get funding, you could take legal challenges against policies that we deem harmful to the Irish people, that they do not have enough of a mandate based on the poor turnout of the electorate. Now, I don't know how far you get with that, but it'd definitely be worth looking at.
Yeah. Well, I think you're saying about taking.
Just laughing, Paul. There was a comment there about, what was it, like us infiltrating the likes of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael.
Yeah, it's never going to happen.
Going as the Trojan horse.
Yeah, no. Go on, Herman. What were you saying there? Sorry.
No, I think that actually someone in that about the Irish Freedom Party deserves some credit, because actually in the last 6 years, we really were the ones who started off about the importance of free speech. We were the party that stood up early and strongly against the government-imposed lockdown. We have been very clear about the parental rights and education, all these things about individual rights, family rights, against that of the big state. And like, it wasn't easy, it wasn't popular. Even the whole thing about the imposition of trans ideology and gender ideology in schools, etc., and in society in general. Like, when we started speaking about that 6 years ago, it wasn't very popular, but it's a hell of a lot more popular now. It's a lot more accepted. Then it was like a minority view. Now a lot of people can see the sense of, no, this isn't just whatever you're having yourself, Jack. This is very dangerous for children. This leads to mutilation and sterilization. This is dangerous. So, and you can see it in Ireland about in the polls about where before it would just get along. Yeah, well, the Liberal agenda has been challenged for the first time. Like that referendum in March where they try to get rid of mother and from the Constitution, from the Constitution. Like, that was the first time they've ever had a kickback against the Liberal agenda for decades. So, like, you know what, we are moving, as to say, moving the needle to the right, but we're certainly having an impact on the discussion in the country. Where 6 years ago when we started, you weren't allowed to mention immigration at all on TV or radio. We weren't allowed to mention it. Now, 6 months ago, it was the only thing that they would talk about. Now, the media have tried to silence a bit recently in the last few months for obvious reasons as we approach an election. But now, like, these issues which we raised and we were lambasted for it, they're now being discussed generally throughout the whole of society. So we're having a success, but we want our hands on political power, because that point you mentioned there about the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, they're just going to do exactly what they wanted to do when they get in the government. Yeah, the people who have destroyed our country can't be like whatever they say during an election cycle, it can't be entrusted to implement it, because they're the very people who've just destroyed our country by mass immigration, for example. So they're not going to be the ones who are going to fix the problem when they help create the problem.
Just here's an interesting question.
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Is it Australia that is voting compulsory in Australia? Am I right in saying that, or?
I don't know. I've never been to Australia.
I'm not sure if it's Australia or New Zealand.
I think it is. I think it is Australia. Yeah. I think all countries as well. I think maybe Austria. There's a number of countries. Australia's one. Other countries in Europe.
You get a fine. You actually get a fine for not voting.
Yeah, where it's actually compulsory. Yeah.
But
you know what?
But you could sell this.
If you were a working class person, if you go around now, in my experience, where we get our support from, it's a working class base, right? These people, when you go around, I find the reception in working class areas now, Mehaven and more, like if you know up around County Louth, they're quite well known, big working class estates, right? Some deprivation in some of them. These people are very, very open to our message and are very supportive. But when you look at the stats, only 30, like in some of the big working class estates, only 13% of people vote. That's 1 in 7. So if these people came out and voted as they say that the policies and the party that they support, we would do a hell of a lot better. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you can sell the idea of compulsory voting along the same sense as that we all have to have a TV license, because, like the ad said, it's just part of the terms and conditions of living in Ireland. That I mean, you'd need a constitutional amendment by referendum, but it wouldn't necessarily be a bad thing. There's certain things we just accept as the as the norm, and I'm giving the TV license one as one because most people hate paying that, but it is just part of the terms and conditions of living in Ireland. If you do not have a TV license, the courts will come after you and you could end up in prison, and they love putting people in prison for that. But like, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to have voting compulsory, but not have it necessarily compulsory, if you know what I mean. That people just actually to teach people the value of the vote, and we'll say that more about the history of the vote and what people had to do for us to get that vote, and the people that died and the people that suffered and the civil war that ensued after.
He's gone off again.
And all the women as well. Remember, all the women that were never allowed to vote. Like, I think women should remember how important it is for us to vote, because for many, many years we were not allowed to vote.
Yeah, it's true.
You know?
Go on, Martin. You went off again.
Yeah, no, I was just about to say about we should never have given the women vote, but I got cut off.
Sorry,
I'm only messing. No, I'm only messing. I'm only messing.
Yeah.
Although I will say, and I've said it numerous times, there is nothing more dangerous than a white liberal woke woman.
Well, I'm not one of them, so you don't need to worry.
I know that.
Yeah. I was actually just thinking, do you know what, Herman, I have an idea of how we could get in sponsorship, right? What about if we got the likes of Martin to do like L'Oreal or something like that, you know, his hair and his beard and...
He does have very impressive hair and beard, I must say, yeah. No, I'm not kidding. When you see him, he has very impressive hair.
Yeah, and
I'm jealous.
Glenn comes out with this like flip comb and he's like fixing his hair.
Yeah. No, he's very good hair. Well, I was saying that poster of the general election, I thought it was the best looking poster in the whole country, and I've said that. So,
who, Martin's?
Yeah, best looking poster. The background, the beard, everything, the background. It's just like, Wow, that's a work of art. That poster is beautiful. You know what? Aesthetics as well to convey a sense of beauty and celebration of aesthetic standards and beauty is important.
It is. We are a good looking party, but
and you forget about what about poor Paul? Like Paul's going to do what, the rugged look or something? Is it?
No, look at that. Look here.
You put Paul in the
Do the
tuxedo.
mew.
They don't call it that.
Paul needs to go to
They don't,
tux,
it's the experience look. Experience.
That's it. Now you have it.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
experience
I'm
look.
just laughing. There was a comment came in there, and they said, "What was it? How many times does Paul say? Do you know what I mean?"
Yeah,
game,
yeah. The drinking game. Yeah, it's like at the wedding. Yeah. At least I haven't coursed yet tonight. That's a good thing. You know, my dad keeps telling me not to course.
Yeah. Oh, do you remember I used to be always on at you, Paul? Quit coursing.
Yeah.
I just give up. It was just easier to give up.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Well, do you know one thing? Was Glenn on earlier?
No,
he hasn't been on tonight.
Oh, no. I know. Like, it must be disappointing for some people that they did so well in. Like, let's just take Glenn as an example. Got over 9% in the local election. He worked very hard in this general election. He had a very good
he did
canvas
work,
campaign and posters as well. Maybe look, the media game didn't work for us in the last few months, right? They wouldn't allow us on to present our message at all. They downplayed the whole issues that were good for us. They presented Sinn Féin as the alternative to the Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael game at the minute, and they did better. And they wouldn't allow us on. They demonized us for, I don't know, years. Maybe some people are disappointed, and maybe they're right to be disappointed. But we just have perseverance and keep on going. It's not easy, but if we keep on working on it and we up our game, eventually it will become good again. We will get the results.
But IFP is not going anywhere. Like, we're not going anywhere. Do you know what I mean? So we'll be around for the long haul.
Was it ad Ardra? What's the UCD one? Ad Ardua, ad Astra per Ardua, to the stars through hard work. That's where we're going. We will get political more. Like that thing there, me today, I ended up with 5.66%. Like, if I had got 8%, I'm in as a TD. So we're approaching, given the situation, the media situation that we had here, even locally, that if we keep at it, we will win eventually. We will win. People will see the sense. Now, the mainstream parties may have to run the country into the ground for people to wake up and say, get away from this. Oh, did you see the video there? It was going around there last week that some old woman saying, oh, I vote Fianna Fáil, my family and my father always voted Fianna Fáil. Like, this whole allegiance thing about I belong to this party and I will always vote for them, no matter how the party's principles and policies have been deformed by some idiot like me or Martin. But if we persevere, we learn from our experience, we reshape, we modify a bit that we have to, and we keep on trucking. Perseverance is very, very important. Like Nigel Farage, I think he only got elected on his 8th attempt to the House of Commons. It's only the first time I've run for the Dáil. I've got another 7 attempts. Hopefully they'll have election every 6 months.
God, I've only run twice now. I'm going on a break.
I would think that the coalition government is going to be very, very unstable. And I think that's something I think that's something that can be worked on. So we need to carefully target. We'd say pick and choose the battles we go after, but put a lot of resources into attacking when they mess up, and they will mess up. They're carrying a lot of negative legacy into the government, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, and they seem to keep escaping. Like, it's always a smaller party that gets decimated. There's a great meme going around with the Doors, the Progressive Democrats, Labour, and now the Greens, and it's death knocking on the door like that. The smaller party always bears the brunt, and Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael seem to keep getting away with it, but we have to keep after them, and we have to keep highlighting their misuse of funds.
We have to be proper opposition, Martin, like proper opposition, not Sinn Féin opposition, proper opposition.
Absolutely. You know what I mean?
So, you just think about it though. If Sinn Féin had not gotten the vote they got, that vote was coming to us, and we would have got in.
I think the established parties have their base vote, and I think it's I'm just gone again. So
Martin's gone again. Yeah,
Actually,
but if you think about it, like we all thought we were going to get that the Sinn Féin voters would vote for us instead because they were so fed up with Mary Lou and her flip flopping and everything else she was at.
Echo chambers, because the Sinn Féin as traitors, it literally was only in certain parts of the country where they did actually lose it, but like that didn't affect rural Ireland. The old Sinn Féin vote in rural Ireland was still there. That didn't change because unless there was you were in a community where there was an IPAS centre and there was an established says no movement, Sinn Féin as traitors was not being said. You know what I mean? It was only in those little hotspots where there was actually IPAS centres going in. So, like I said, they're an established party. They have their base vote. In fairness to IFP, we also now have our base vote. You know what I mean? It's in the small percentages, but it's there. And I suppose the challenge now is how to grow it and how to build it. And like I said, it does take time. But the worry is, how much time does this country actually have? So I'd be really hoping that this government doesn't do its full term, and there's some scandal or some world event that collapses them. But again, without a functioning media, you can't collapse a government. So
remember, it is in our constitution that 100,000 on the street can overthrow the government. It's in our constitution. We can do it.
You can barely get 10,000 people on a sunny day for 3 kids getting killed.
It's
so
true.
But things are getting progressively worse. I mean, we're still quite far behind the likes of Sweden and all that. Wait till we start catching up on them.
You know the Mrs. Doyle quote.
Go on.
Which one?
Go on.
Maybe I like the misery. I think there's a little bit of that in the Irish psyche. Maybe I like the misery. You know what I mean? The people are unwilling to change.
Yeah,
but there will be a cut-off. There will be a cut-off point, and I think coming after the children is going to be a massive cut-off point.
I know. Right, lads, we're gonna shut this up now for tonight. So we've a couple of minutes to go. But Herman, I'll give you a minute there just to say thank you and whatever you want to say. Or
absolutely. I'd like to thank everybody who voted for us in that election. Really deeply thank you for that. I'd like to thank especially the candidates for the Irish Freedom Party who put themselves forward selflessly, using their own money, their time, taking time away from their family, using their own money to buy posters and leaflets and go around. It's a physical slog to go around asking people to vote for them, but they did so. We have the policies which we can put forward, which the country needs. They're radical, but they're necessary. So going forward, Ireland people, I believe, will wake up through the hardship imposed by the government, and sunnier times are ahead. Look, we're coming into the winter now, but the spring always comes, and the summer follows that. So thank you for your vote. And thanks to the candidates for putting themselves forward. And I wish now the fury of the election is over, we will see what the government get up to. And as Martin says, I don't believe it will be an unstable government. The numbers dictate that. So we'll just have to wait in the long grass.
I'll drop you down there now. So I'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Thanks.
Just wait down there. Orla, I'm going to say good night to you, and it's been brilliant again to have you here again tonight. You've been great helping me. Thank you, Orla.
Bye-bye.
Martin, fair play to you. Thanks for coming on. Your input's always great every night. Just hang around down there for a minute. I'll finish up. I have no lion behind me here tonight now, so what I will say is I just have the green screen, look, and everyone is saying good night and God bless. And I'd just like to thank everyone who voted for me and everyone who helped me. Like, I had some great canvassers out with me there for the last week and the week before. And I have to say, listen, I thought I'd have done better, but hey, we have made a great dent in this now. I got 3 times what I got before in the new constituency. And listen, thank you very much, everyone, for voting for me. And as we say every Sunday night, the truth is like a lion. You don't have to defend it. You just have to let it loose, and it will defend itself. Good night and God.